Hello, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. It's been a long time since I've done a video for the channel, and I just wanted to post this video. It's not really ready yet for prime time what I'm working on, but it should be fun and hopefully generate some additional excitement for the channel now that I have some time to get back in it. This is the game that I've been talking about producing for a while now. If you've watched the channel trailer, I talked about it there. If you've watched probably a good half of the videos I've produced, I've talked about that I want to do a game like this, kind of in the same vein as games like Galaga or Alpha Mission. I always think of Alpha Mission because that was the first game of this type. It was a Gradius, Life Force, that kind of stuff, where it's a although this is all being done in 3D, these other games I'm referencing are isometric, but same idea. I think of it as a top-down shooter, and even though I'm doing it kind of a perspective. But just a few things to know that on the side of the screen you'll see a bunch of text, numbers mostly scrolling. That's essentially things like my health, time between enemy waves. They spawn in groups of... There's two enemy types that each spawn two when they spawn. The enemies have a very simple AI that I came up with. And by and large, I've only been working on this. Total work time is probably less than 48 hours, but it's spread out over the last 5 days. I kind of took most of today off, and I think last Friday, something like that. I didn't do anything on this, so not really a ton of work time has been put into this, but mostly it's been me kind of banging my head against stuff until they work, or talking to my friend Chilton on Skype to get some idea help for how to set up some systems. I had some issues with the control system early on for some strange reason, even though I had done a control system before. And at one point I switched to a completely non-physics based one, but was able to do some of the stuff I wanted to do with the physics based one, so I went back to that. You know, things like that. A lot of avenues explored but quickly abandoned, that kind of thing. So without further ado, let's get on with it. There is audio. The audio effects are very much temporary. There's a little bit of music and whatnot, but so far I mean it's very simple, and I understand that it's not really a game yet, but I am pretty proud of what I've set up so far. None of these models are final, to say the least. May end up using a variant of these planets. Kind of want to have the clouds move at different rates and whatnot, and it'll kind of evolve over time on Jupiter. Not sure how I'm going to do that quite yet without using a ton of textures, but this is more of a gauntlet, so it just gets more and more difficult as you go. There's no actual end game, so I can't actually beat anything yet. This isn't really a level. It just gets harder and harder as you progress, and it's basically on a countdown timer. So we're getting pretty close to the end here. I got about 20 health points left. 10, 4, 0, and I died. And that's pretty much it. It's fun, and you just kind of respawn indefinitely. It just restarts the game at this point. But that's pretty much it. I was kind of spurred to do this again because I saw that Epic is going to hopefully without too much longer, be releasing their Vulkan API support for modern mobile devices, and so that's pretty cool. Um, the possibility that this could be virtual reality type game is there. It'd mostly be kind of there for like the 3D effect more than anything else. But I think if I did go down that route, there'd probably be more player freedom in terms of like, oh, I could shoot over that way, or I could shoot over that way, maybe travel in that direction for a little while. I think that could be an interesting addition later on. Um, Maybe not in this version. I think at least initially, um, it's going to stay pretty much as it is. I don't want to talk too much yet about my plans for it. I think it's too early to really say what the end game will be like. So I don't really want to say, well, it's gonna have to be like this. Um, I have different ideas. Maybe going into something that's a little bit more steampunk, or maybe um, having a game where there's some steampunk stuff, but maybe you go like between different dimensions or something like that. But I think right now the basic game that I have in mind, where you're essentially kind of freeing the Jovian system from like an alien invasion of some kind, where as you go, you kind of like attach different alien stuff to your ship that gives you different abilities and whatnot. I think that's the game I'm making right now. I think it's kind of the purest design choice, so that there's clear goals that are easily attainable without too much effort. Obviously, things like the environment and stuff will change. The environment was 3D. I hope you could tell that you're slowly getting closer to Europa as you're flying along. There's a little bit of parallax between Europa and Jupiter. Um, and the other moon that was there is just a duplicate of the Europa moon, but it was far enough away you couldn't really see anything. Um, and that's pretty much it. So yeah, the landscapes will vary. Obviously, I like the idea of like the aliens kind of building space structures um, as they harvest the resources and whatnot from the Jovian system, and maybe each moon would have a unique look and feel to it, so that the environment itself changes as you go and becomes hopefully more interesting as you go. Um, Not just how close you are to Jupiter, and which moon you're over at the time. Maybe some levels probably you wouldn't be over a moon, you'd be in transition between one while leaving another, which gives opportunities for all sorts of different things. The fact that there's moons, maybe you might not travel to each one. Maybe there might be branches in the story where you could go to that one or that one. The spawning of everything, including like the terrain that kind of appears beneath you, will be should be procedural. I can't imagine sitting there trying to place every little piece and modeling out each thing in the amount of time that would take. But we'll see. If I get as crazy as I want to be able to get with the way that stuff kind of spawns around you, I think by that time I'll have brought in a friend or two to help me develop that stuff. But it should be pretty fun. I think it's fun right now just to kind of shoot things in the level and try to survive. Once there's actual goals, I think it'll be that much more interesting, and hopefully be worth between probably $2 and $5 for a copy of the game once it's done. Probably through Steam, because it seems the most likely place for me to be able to launch without too much difficulty. Launching on mobile would be harder, I think, just in terms of support of all the different Android devices. and seeing how that goes. I don't really know. It definitely at that point I'd have to bring in someone who's an actual programmer to help me support all that stuff anyway. So we'll see. But I want to thank you all for watching. I hope this makes you guys more interested to come back and look at the stuff that I do. These videos about the game aren't really going to be tutorials. I suppose I could make tutorials on some aspects of it. Obviously, I'm developing a product, hopefully, and so showing off every little piece wouldn't necessarily be good for me. But I have no problems, showing how I did the movement mechanics or the simple AI. I mean, because that stuff's really basic. But I also don't want to necessarily spoil everything about the story. I might show how I end up doing cinematics, which I have a rough idea for. Probably won't be rendered in engine, just because I want to make it a little bit retro, but we'll see. I mean, I do know a fair amount about doing cinematics in engine. My last job was doing engine rendered content in an offline process, and so I'll probably do something like that, but we'll see. I kind of like the idea of maybe doing kind of 2.5D type of stuff, just to try to make it look a little bit retro. Kind of debating whether or not I want to go for a more pixely look or not. We'll see. I might have an option to be able to toggle between the two looks, a classic mode and a modern mode type of thing. But yeah, again, that's pretty much it. Thank you all for watching. Please like and subscribe if it so catches your fancy to do so. I'll probably produce these videos for this particular thing semi-regularly, at most once a week, but probably every few weeks to a month as I go. I want to try to produce this thing as quickly as possible, so it's not preventing me from doing other things. I do want, not so much to rush it out the door so much as I want to get through it and work on additional chapters or other games, or perhaps bigger and better titles, or take the same basic idea and make it into a bigger game or something like that. But we'll see how all that works out. But again, thank you all for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye.